The common practice with the sai in the dojo is to use it to sort of bang happily on weapons. And usually that weapon is something made of wood, like a wooden sword or a long staff, a bow. And there's something satisfying in that, but it's not a really good idea. So, for example, Geidan Barai or Geidan Uke, where you swing the arm down, and everyone says, oh, it's for blocking a low strike. Uh-huh. You can already see the look on her face, the terror on her face at the prospect that she's going to do that and try to stop it. Everyone acts like a sword is a clunky weapon. It's an elegant weapon. How easy is it to just slide up the block? Same thing if I come and she does an overhand block. Very, very common to see people teach this. Hi-yah! Right? Look at that. Isn't that great? Except how simple is it to just move and cut? And so, from the standpoint of the original use of the sai, because it's a weapon used by a constable in a law enforcement setting, and because a drawn sword is a very difficult thing to deal with, the officer wants to make sure the sword doesn't get out of the scabbard. That's exactly what we see when we look at the movements of kasai kata, that the majority of them are designed to prevent the sword from coming out of the scabbard. What you're going to see now is that as he goes to draw the sword, she will enter and use the sai. Now we're going to walk it through first, just so you can see this step by step. So first, he moves to draw the sword, and as he does that, she's going to enter and uses the side of the weapon to stop the draw. With one hand, with the backhand we call hikite, she's going to grab onto the handle of the sword, and with the other hand, she performs the downward motion, stripping his hand away from the weapon, and now she just steps back. She actually has the sword in her hand. As he goes to draw the sword, she stops it, pulls down to strip his hand away, and she can step away, and she's got control. Notice where her leg is. She's actually intercepted his leg. Now, if she shifts her weight forward, as she strips away, she not only has taken control of the weapon, freed his hand from it, but she's also broken his structure. Even though we're moving in a controlled way, I do want to point out that it hurts even through the armor. And so it's important that if you practice these kinds of techniques, that you use appropriate safety gear. As he goes to draw the sword, she's going to intercept. See, she places this part of the sai, which is called monouchi, the shaft or the length of it, and she simply touches the handle of the sword just above his hand, and then she pushes. It causes the sai to tip down, traps his hand to the weapon. Okay, so there it is. Now, at this point, if she tries to fight him, she loses. But if she pushes, she wins. That's the secret. Going after the handle causes this to trap in so nicely. But sometimes you're late. And when that happens, you connect with the blade instead of the handle, and that's okay. It still works the same way because the architecture of the sai will glide along the blade and do that. Will point it where it needs to go. When you intercept the blade, what can happen is that it causes the sai to tip into the center mass instead of off over here on the side. So she's got the sai in the open position. As he goes to draw, she's simply going to draw point, touch the blade, and then this is called riding the draw. She's going to swing around. And then from here, as she brings that back to her shoulder, it throws the sword away, and she can finish with the strike with the other sai. Now, obviously, here in the photo studio, we cannot simply throw the sword around, but this technique can throw a sword a long ways. Watch as we do it in the dojo. Now, of course, this means that you don't want to do this particular technique if there's somebody else around, someone who might pick up the sword, who might use it against you. And so we're going to show you another technique, a variation on this one that puts the sword back in the scabbard. The draw begins. She's going to intercept the handle, not the blade. Now she's going to ride the draw, and see how she's touching wrist to wrist, and she's put the butt end of the sai over. And now she's just going to slam down, hitting with the butt end of the sai into the chest, and then completing the outstrike movement. So helping me on this video are my son Josh and my daughter April. And on behalf of Black Belt Magazine, I'm Chris Thomas. Thanks for watching. Now go train.